U.S. Tactical and Sporting Arms presents Cenmass on Power Talk 96.7 and AM 1400. Here's your host, Rod Williams.
It's Saturday, December 2nd, and I am Rod Williams here with my pal, Farmer Greg Barkley. Hello, Greg.
How you doing?
I was reading an article in American Rifleman, the NRA magazine, about Gunsight Academy. Colonel Jeff Cooper, he's the guy that kind of established that. Though I have been to the megalomaniacal chiropractor's Ignatius Piazza's front site in Nevada, I've never had the pleasure of being or going to Gunsight in Arizona. Gunsight's been around for about 40 years. I think it was established in 76 as the American Pistol Institute. Cooper was a guy that was a Marine and, did all kinds of cool combat exploits and whatnot. And him and his wife had a property in Arizona, and they established the Gunsight Academy is what it ended up being called about 40 years ago. And since then, I think they've trained more civilians and whatnot than any other place like that out there.
That's awesome.
I think back in the 70s, whatnot, he had an opportunity to go to, in his Marine Corps service, was stationed in D.C. and had the opportunity to do some pistol shooting with the FBI and realized that there was better techniques for pistol shooting. So he called on a number of friends at pistol shooters and whatnot that do competitions and demonstrations and that kind of thing. And being a lifelong student of firearms, Cooper not only tried different shooting methods, but to see what worked best, but also studied techniques that others began to incorporate into their body of work. And so, he developed kind of some of the protocols they use to train people to, for lack of a better term, fight or defend with firearms. During the early times, the double action revolver was kind of the king. And I'm paraphrasing a lot of this from American Rifleman article about Gunsight. So I just want everyone to know that. The pistol, the revolver was kind of king. And then he kind of pioneered the idea that large caliber pistols would be a better way to go as reliability with those got better and the more different ones come on the market. And he kind of pioneered some of the modern defensive handguns pistol techniques like the Weaver stance. Now, I'm not a proponent of the Weaver stance because I compete, and I'll get to that in a minute. But he was friends with Weaver, and so he, that was one of his things. He liked the Weaver stance. He had a protocol to how you draw, a smooth draw. Which these are all good things. These are all things that if you're going to carry a gun and you might have to use it, that you want to be focused on practicing.
Yeah, you got to practice.
And, the two-handed grip where you kind of push and you kind of pull. And like I said, he was friends with the deputy sheriff named Jack Weaver, and that's where the Weaver stance came from. He understood about, teaching techniques and kind of developed them to help people get speed and economy of motion. The term front sight press is kind of attributed to him, that you kind of push and pull with one hand. Now we kind of incorporate a real strong offhand. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So he developed a lot of stuff, and this article got me thinking about that people constantly coming into my store and asking me, what's the best gun for defense, and where do I learn techniques? So I'm going to talk about some of that today. So now, though I agree with the pistol being superior to the revolver for personal defense, revolvers still have their place. I'm a revolver lover. I got two new ones.
Sure.
Just recently here, real cool ones, and I'm going to bring those in one of these days to kind of do a show.
It's amazing how many people can't operate a pistol. I mean, they just really struggle with that.
For let's say there's a lot of ladies that don't have the hand strength to do slides and whatnot.
A lot of people,
a pistol's more of a hammer in that it's simple. It's easy to reload. You don't have magazines to fiddle with. You don't have a slide. So revolvers still have their place in personal defense. There's nothing, the snub nose 38 revolver.
It's still got to be the number one seller.
Especially the aluminum frame ones have been saving lives for a lot of years. But I'm going to kind of focus more on pistols right now. It's practice, and if you don't practice, and the best way to practice is to get involved in IDPA or USPSA competitions. Because it puts stress on you. And should you ever need to defend yourself, there's going to be a high level of stress because you have to basically If you look at the Penal Code section 197, justifiable homicide any person, which is what if you engage a firearm in a confrontation is liable to happen, and it reads something like this: when resisting any attempt to murder any person or commit a felony or do some great bodily injury upon any person, or when committed in the defense of habitation, property, or person against one who manifestly intends or endeavors by violence or surprise to commit a felony, or against one who manifestly intends or endeavors to do violence. So this is all the legalese, tumultuous manner. It comes down to this: if you ever have to pull your gun, and even worse yet, use it, and even worse yet, that results in the death of someone that's trying to do you harm. The way these things are written are kind of ambiguous at times because they clarify them in subsequent sections. But it all comes down to this: you better be in mortal fear for your life. And any reasonable person on a jury would have to assume that their level of fear would rise to the same level of yours under the same given circumstance, to want to neutralize that threat to the point where someone gets killed or shot, that a reasonable person would have done the same thing in the same circumstances. In California, it's really strict.
That's scary in California.
Yeah, and there's always going to be some liberal DA that wants to make an example, anti-gun DA or somebody that wants to make an example of you that's going to be out there. So the point I'm making here is that if you ever use your gun for reals, you're going to have such a high level of fear that things have to be pretty automatic. And the only way that's why those revolvers still have a place, because they're simple.
Yep.
And minor motor skills and muscle memory go to pot when you're under stress. I shoot trap all the time. It's one of my favorites. And man, I go out there and shoot a lot of clean rounds practicing, but competition, I'm sorry, there's pressure just in competition.
Sure.
Now imagine being afraid for your life under meeting that criteria of that level of fear. You're not going to be all that hotsy-totsy as you would be practicing. So only repetitious and built-in muscle memory is going to account for all that stuff. And so, I come back to practice. So, okay, so we're going to just talk about some actual nuts and bolts here. The Weaver stance, where you stand kind of cockeyed with one arm kind of bent. That's kind of what a way for most shooters I need, because Jerry Michulik was a guy that's kind of won about everything with guns that you can do. And, he espoused, and I know a lot of others do too, like Ben Stoger, all these guys, the isosceles, where you make a simple triangle, hold a gun right out in front of you. You don't move your head, you're bringing a gun up to your head. So what you're trying to do is build economy of motion. The less fancy stuff going on, the better you are. The simpler you keep it, the better you are. So you stand square. The Weaver stance also had the problem of preventing the side of your body kind of like a boxer stance. But if you get shot, you take it through both lungs. They can't do much for you if you do that, if you take it through one. So you're actually better off.
Wasn't it kind of to minimize the target, though?
Well, you're actually maximizing the exposed target to them by standing square, but you're liable to not take a shot through the side. The shot not through the side's a coup de grace.
Go right on through.
Because it goes right on through both lungs, and then they can't help you. As long as you got one lung working, you're helpable. So the FBI's done studies on it. It's all kind of morbid to talk about, but the truth is you're better off with a square stance, isosceles. When you're handling a handgun, what a lot of shooters that are competitors got drummed into me by a guy that kind of mentored me is that off hand's critical. The hand that should be tired at the end of the day is the left hand if you're right-handed, because you're imparting opposite to the recoil with the left hand, and that's what's going to make you have fast follow-up shots. Well, look, I'm gonna take a break now here on Power Talk 96.7 FM at 1400 AM, and we'll be right back, and we'll just go on with this.
U.S. Tactical and Sporting Arms presents Cenmass on Power Talk 96.7 and AM 1400. Here again is Rod Williams.
You are back with the Patriots on Cenmass. You can hear our show on podcast simply by searching Power Talk 96.7, opening the website, clicking on demand, and from there it's Cenmass. You can hear our show when out of town on iHeartRadio on the internet. Lots of big things coming soon. You can visit our website, which isn't quite up and running, but it will, and it'll have links to everything we do. And that website will be cenmass.com, CENMASS.com. The radio show is Cenmass on Power Talk. Follow us on Facebook at Cenmass #1. Just put Cenmass 1. Check out our YouTube videos at Cenmass 1. When you go on YouTube, just type in Cenmass 1. And you'll be checking out all the content. We're just starting to produce a lot of new stuff, and we're going to be doing stuff every week, just kind of getting you up to snuff early. There's not a lot on there yet, but if you keep exploring it, you'll find more and more content as we go. It's going to be good. Our store is U.S. Tactical and Sporting Arms at 2135 Whitendale Avenue in Visalia, at the corner of Mooney and Whitendale, behind the 76 station. You can call our store at 734-ARMS. That's 734-2767, or just come in and visit with Mr. Woomer or myself. And our producer Dave's usually in there messing around. Sometimes Farmer Greg's hanging around. So we have a lot of fun. Come on down to the store and see us. This segment of our show is brought to you by my friend Ed Morton at Keller & Williams Realty. Give him a call at 859-4840. His BRE number is 01409444. He is the best realtor around. I like him the best. I don't care what anyone says. The guy calls you. You call him any time of day, he'll call you back. I'm telling you, he's for real. It's a whole different ball of wax, and I don't care what anyone likes it or not. He's just the greatest guy. I want to know what you think. So call me at the show at 247-CALL, 247-2255. Because if you don't call in and talk, then you'll just have to listen to me and Greg more. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about guns for defense and handgun shooting. I'm just going to keep going on. I mean, people ask me this stuff all the time, so
Sure,
I'm going
it's important.
do as much as I can. All right, the basic pistol shooting. I'm just going to kind of go real fast. I can't give a whole basic pistol shooting class here, but I'm just going to skim over some things. Hand and eye dominance. You know, if you shoot, I shoot shotguns and pistols both eyes open because I do trap, which is fast moving. I do practical pistol shooting, which is fast moving. So I've kind of just developed a both eye open technique for shotguns and handguns. Obviously, rifles, probably one eye dominant. There's ways to check your eye dominant, so I'm not going to belabor all that. You can just hit me up at my store and I'll show you a real easy technique for checking your eye dominance. You need to understand about having a good grip. Like I said, you impart a lot of energy with your offhand. Again, it's something I just have to show you. Pretty hard to describe it all on a radio in an hour show. Aiming, you need to understand a proper sight picture and whether you have a 6 o'clock hold or a center mass hold. When we shoot pistols fast, we shoot shotguns, and we're not hardly aware of aiming. I look at the sights, call for the clay, forget about them. And the reason I mention rifles and shotguns in this is I'm going to get to that in a minute. They're all got their place in personal defense. Breath control, again, you need to, when you're shooting targets and you're shooting bullseye and stuff like that, breath control is very critical. But it's also critical. You do start doing a lot of this stuff under stress without even thinking about it. You kind of stop breathing while you shoot. Hold control is how you orient the sights onto the target, and trigger control is related to hold control because as you apply pressure to the trigger, you don't just pull it. And how do you do that when you're going real fast? Again, practice. It starts to become second nature. Follow through is trying to keep the sights on target even through the recoil of the firearm. And follow through is very critical to doing good shooting. And so you learn these basic fundamentals about pistol shooting, and then comes balance and learning, shooting positions and so forth. And all this stuff, if you don't practice it, and it all holds true with pistols, rifles, and shotguns. What you don't practice, you won't be great at. And what you do practice, you will improve at. Okay, so advantages, disadvantages. Handguns are good if you need to conceal it or you need to keep it in a small place. Handguns are good. Most people defend themselves with handguns. Most murders happen with handguns. Most thugs want a handgun. And handguns have their place, but never bring a handgun to a shotgun or a rifle fight.
Yeah.
Because they're sorely outmatched by shotguns and rifles. Not that they can't win the fight, but 200 yards away, a rifle's not as the coup de grace of advantage.
Yep.
At mid ranges and close ranges, a shotgun slug or buckshot is a devastator, but even birdshot at close range, like within a home,
shut you down.
Shut you down,
Yep.
And you don't want to bring a handgun. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. Well, don't bring a handgun to a shotgun or a rifle fight. But handguns have their place, and most people enjoy practicing with them. They're concealable. You're not going to stuff a 12-gauge shotgun in your pants, generally speaking, or an AR-15 in your pocket, but you can do that with a handgun. So there's advantages. If people talk to me about calibers, if you practice and you make good hits, listen, folks, the bigger the better to a point. When the recoil becomes too much that you can't mitigate it and get follow-up shots or be accurate with it, or you're intimidated by it, it's too big. If it's not going to be a showstopper or impart some real energy into a target to make it think about what it's doing, should it be hopped up on drugs, it's probably too small. But a 22, if you can only handle a 22, it makes a loud noise out of a handgun, and it still will kill anybody it hits if the shots are well placed. And that's the only thing that you're not intimidating you, and you can make a good shot with, and it's better than nothing. It's better than a poking stick or a fighting pillow or a slingshot by a long shot.
Yeah.
So go with that. But, that when we think of handguns and defensive calibers, I tend to tell people to shy away from the exotic ones, the something Gap or the
they get to be more unreliable too,
or the 38 Super or the something Sig, because it's hard to get the ammo for them a lot of times.
Yeah.
So the ubiquitous ones that tend to do the job very well, and the low end of that is probably the 380 ACP for your little pocket pistols. But really, now that in California, we're limited as we can get 9mm Parabellum Luger, same thing, 40 Smith & Wesson, and 45 ACP Colt automatic Colt pistol round. 45, 40s, and 9s tend to be the kind of the food chain of the defensive
9mm should be a minimum.
Rifles, a different story. So, a disadvantage to a handgun, it's concealable, it's easy to store, you can become proficient with it, it's quick to deploy, and then your ammo. People, what's the best? I need the super whammy nomenclature 47 ammo. You make good shots with anything. Ammo, it will do its job. The human body does not react to any kind of hole being bored through it, whether it be with a hollow point or a ball ammo. The only thing with ball ammo, it tends to overpenetrate. Hollow points impart their energy quicker. They all go through walls. Nothing. I don't care what kind of fabricatory ammo they tell you they're selling you. It will go through a wall and kill somebody the other side. You need the basic pistol rules, basic gun rules. Know your target, what's beyond. Handle as if it was loaded. Assume it's loaded. Don't put your finger on the trigger till you're ready to shoot, and know what you're shooting and what's beyond. Those all hold true in every situation.
Some of the new stuff that I do like is now that they've taken some like the 45 and actually low recoil and taken a little bit out of it.
I love the low recoil stuff. They usually put it in a pink box like it's just for the ladies, but the truth is it makes a lot of sense, because you lower the recoil, it still does its job. And you're not tactical Freddy or tactical Willie or going on a mission. You're just a guy trying to defend himself. Yeah. So you don't need the super whammy ammo. It all works. What's defense and what's practice? Well, the practice stuff is what's cheapest, and the defense stuff is what you think is
cost
sexy.
You a fortune.
But it all works, so people get hung up on all that stuff too much when they ought to get hung up on practice.
Now, where that does come in is if you are going to take a 380. Then you better have some good
380 is the low end of the food chain. But look, don't think people haven't defended themselves adequately with 22 long
22
rifles.
Or 25.
You don't have a bunch of sexy bullet choices for that.
Yeah. The good thing about a 22 is you can usually put like 5 bullets as opposed to one. Where you would have put one. Exactly.
So. Yeah, because it's quick to shoot. So advantages of different types of guns. Well, now people don't think typically about the trump card of defensive guns as a 12-gauge shotgun.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to I don't want anyone shooting anything even more than a pea shooter at me, I don't want a blowgun shot at me. I don't want you throwing a dart at me. But I'll tell you what you really don't want is you don't want to run into someone's 12-gauge shotgun.
Yeah.
Buckshot and slugs are devastating. Yeah. The bullet weight, the weight of the projectile just toasts you. Getting shot with a 12-gauge buckshot in a 2 3/4-inch 12-gauge double-aught buck, I think it's like 27. I may be wrong, plus or minus, but it's like 27, 25 caliber pistol rounds hitting you all at once.
One time.
She just got shot 27 times.
Yeah.
That's a trump card. Shotguns are a little slower to deploy, hard to conceal, devastating weapon for personal defense, out to a range of probably 50, 60 yards with buckshot. With birdshot, up close in any kind of reasonable distance within a home does a great job and doesn't have the over penetration issues. The drawbacks to shotguns is you can't conceal them very easy. You got to deploy a long gun, takes longer to deploy, might be tougher to wield around inside of a home or in tight spaces, but devastating.
Tactical ones are pretty short.
Devastating firepower, man. It's a trump card.
What I wish they would bring back is more of the 20 gauge and even a 410 with a slug in it or a double aught is going to be
still over penetration. I think you're better off in the house birdshot. Number 8, number 7.5.
Yeah.
Hey, up close, it's like getting shot with something the size of a coffee can or a soup can. Again, a trump card. Okay. You practice, you can go, if you practice shotguns, you can do 3-gun competition. You can choose your rifle, pistol, and shotgun. You can just go out and practice. You can shoot trap and skeet. When you shoot trap and skeet and you're shooting clays 50 yards away all the time out of the air, and then you have to shoot a shotgun in a house, your aim's going to be impeccable.
Yeah.
And you're going to be fast as scalded dog because you're used to shooting things that are flying through the air. A simple human being, even running's no challenge at that point. So you don't think a trap shooter can employ a shotgun to good.
I saw a guy the other day on YouTube shooting a slug out to see how far it could be deadly. And he was hitting a target at 400 yards with a slug in a 12 gauge. I was amazed.
And the nice thing about a shotgun is you can load birdshot, and slug.
You can stagger.
You ain't getting her done with your birdshot.
Exactly.
And, all of a sudden your slug comes up. Well, ding, ding. Yep. It's on, nice. On, baby. But at any rate, so the shotgun, now rifles, the ubiquitous AR, bolt action rifle. Hey, let me tell you, I'm not going to tell you the story, but there was a bad guy in Alaska. They were that killed all kinds of everyone that hunted him. He hunted back, and he had the advantage that they had to identify who he was, and he was killing everybody he'd seen. And he had a bolt action rifle and knew how to use it. Hence Colonel Cooper's scout rifle. Bolt action rifle, they use them for hunting big game for a reason. They are deadly. Yeah. And if you only ever had a bolt action hunting rifle, don't think you can't defend yourself with that. Problem is over penetration, goes through,
a little slower.
You're hiding behind a cinder block wall or a car. No problem. Yeah. Shoot right through it. But the AR is the one most people have. The problem with rifles is they go through a lot of walls, a lot of houses. But boy, you don't bring anything to a rifle fight but a rifle because the velocity of a rifle, bullets are smaller, but they're going at such a greater velocity that the terminal ballistics on them are devastating. People they see in the movies, guy gets shot in the shoulder, old Haas, little Joe got shot in the shoulder about 1 million times, never had a problem. Yeah. You get shot in anything with a rifle bullet, you got big problems. With you get shot, period, you got big problems. Yeah, rifle's a whole nother level. So, but be real careful if you live in town. A rifle's probably not the best choice for defense. But if it's all you own, they will defend you. The lower calibers are good on recoil and stuff. The big calibers start kicking you pretty hard. But the wounds from rifles are ghastly. Look, I guess it's time for another one of those obscene. What does Rush Limbaugh call them? Obscene profit breaks. Yeah. Here on 96.7 FM and 1400 AM, Power Talk Cenmass.
U.S. Tactical and Sporting Arms presents Cenmass on Power Talk 96.7 and AM 1400. Once again, Rod Williams.
You're back with the powerhouse on Power Talk and the not as powerful Farmer Greg. No, you're powerful, brother. Our store is U.S. Tactical and Sporting Arms at 2135 Whitendale Avenue in Visalia at the corner of Mooney and Whitendale, right next to Casa Grande Mexican Restaurant. You can get a enchilada and a relleno and a Glock all in the same day. You can call our store at 734-ARMS. That's 734-2767. Mr. Woomer is waiting there to make you a great deal on any gun we can possibly get you. We buy, we sell, we trade, we take consignments. Come and see me. If you need a gun fixture cleaner, maybe a scope mounted, we have a gunsmith. We do some of that work. We do some gunsmithing, not all. Give us a call, 734-ARMS, 734-2767. If you want a good low price, call in and order your gun if you know what you want, and we can give a better price if we do it that way because we don't have the wear and tear of having to floor the gun. We can just order it for you and give you a good deal. We try to compete with everything. We don't always have the lowest price on every model. Some people have special deals on certain models that they have worked out, and we can't beat them, but we try to be We try to be competitive and the lowest on the ones we can, but you'll always get the best service, and your money is better spent with me and Woomer. That's how we see it.
There you go.
So soon you'll be able to check out our website, and it'll actually have something on it. There will always be links on it to everything else content we're going to be making, which is cenmass.com. Radio show is Cenmass on Power Talk. Follow us on Facebook at Cenmass1. That's the numeral 1. Check our YouTube videos out on Cenmass numeral 1. And that's, a lot of content coming up. We're just putting it out there early. So we're going to be hosting a whole bunch of podcasts and videos on how to do stuff, little gunsmithing jobs, shooting, competitive shooting. One we're going to do pretty soon is how to sight in your rifle, bore sight it, how to break it in. I can just think of we're just going to have fun with it. It's not a lot going on yet, but we're just getting the word out there because we're going to start doing a lot of this internet-based content, as well as the broadcast radio show here on the awesome Power Talk out of Fresno, California, and Visalia. What do you think, Mr. Barkley? What kind of, I've been going on and on about, the different guns and defensive. I hope shotguns, I like 12 gauge, but you're right. 20 gauge and 410s are good too. Pistols, 940s, 45s, rifles, rifles are rifle, whatever caliber floats your boat, but the most ubiquitous is the 5.56 NATO or the 223, which is virtually the same thing.
My thing is my parents, I've been trying to help them get defended, and my dad's got some physical problems, and they're in their 70s, and
Doberman and Rottweiler is also good caliber.
Yeah, that's true. But trying to figure out what they can handle. Like my dad, I don't know that he can handle a 12 gauge tactical with a slug. There's just no way. I wish they would do more. Like I said, we were saying
earlier.
There's
lots of cool 20 gauges that don't have much kick at all to them, and
you can't. It's hard to find a tactical 20 gauge.
We can put thick pads on them. Well, bring him in there and spend some money. We'll trick him something out,
cut off the barrel.
We'll get him one of them super nomenclature 942s that shoot itself. But
then even the pistols, they want to. What I wish they'd really make, what would be really ideal, especially for older people.
There are some people that are going to benefit from a 22 revolver. I'm just telling you.
I wish they would make a 9mm revolver.
I mean, I love Knock. They do. They have ones with moon clips and stuff, but they're a pain in the butt to put the moon rounds in the moon clips.
But they came out with a 357 for a pistol now. Make a 9mm for a revolver.
You were just saying they make the pink 38 specials that don't have much kick. There's a way around all this stuff. You just need to listen to your shooting guru.
I know.
Rodmo.
I know you'll hook me up, but it's just a challenge. There's just not a lot available those things.
The biggest challenge of finding something that will work real good for your folks is just the fact that you're going to be with them.
There you go.
No, man, I love you. You're the best. We'll figure it out for him, brother. Okay, so what's your favorite flavor of the day for? Let's I've been doing my fair share on guns today. The gun show that actually has some gun content for a day, but I want to do touch on a couple of things. Someone said, or I read an article, and I think I got this off of Breitbart. General David Petraeus. They're looking at him for Secretary of State. Hey, you know what though? Before we do this, let's go to Ed here in Fresno. Hello, Ed.
Oh, good morning, Rod.
Good morning to you, sir.
And Farmer Greg Bucker.
All right.
Thanks.
Hey, down through the years, I've learned a tremendous amount of information from Massad Ayoob.
Absolutely. The very famous guy right there.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And
very famous instructor. And wasn't he the Israeli guy that was part of the Israeli? Am I incorrect in saying that? Well, I forget his background, but I mean,
I'm sorry. I'm not sure about his complete background, but he's trained a lot of. He was in police work in New York for years, and he was called upon to train a lot of.
Yeah, I just know he's like a famous instructor, trainer guy. I should probably know more about him. I just don't know everything. But at any rate, what were you going to say about what you learned from Hassan?
He covered that Bernard Goetz shooting years ago in New York. Remember, Bernard Goetz was mugged,
right?
And he bought a 38, and he was on a transportation subway, and these 4 or 5 guys approached him, and they had screwdrivers as their weapons and that, and they threatened him badly, and he was compelled to shoot them.
Moral to the story is don't bring a screwdriver to a gunfight.
There you go. Yeah. And anyway, it ruined the bottom of the story. It could probably still be brought up on the web, but it ruined his life. The bottom line.
Yeah, it's no joke, and I can't tell people that enough. On all the concealed carry classes I give and everything I do, I always put this caveat out there. It's no joke. If you have to defend yourself with a firearm, they are gonna change your life. Right or wrong, win or lose, your life's going to change because, especially in this state, they're going to try to make an example out of you.
For sure.
At some point, Rod, you need to tell your story of what happened to you that time.
Yeah, and I'll get around to that. I have the story to tell because I was put upon by some thugs and had to defend myself. And just to make it long, I'll tell the story in more detail on some other show. But, it was a year. It cost me $10,000 in a year to have a jury deliberate for like 6 minutes. And go, oh, that's crazy. You did nothing wrong, and go. But a year with a sledgehammer hanging over your head and some douche liberal DA trying to prosecute you for defending yourself. But I think I'll save that story for another day. Hey, Ed, thanks for calling. God bless.
Yeah, hey, could I throw in another quick thing?
Sure, buddy.
Years ago, the Utah police, when they'd be out on the academy at the pistol range practicing, so many of them would practice with their 9mm, and word got around to the upper echelon to that effect. And so the Utah Highway Patrol, Sheriff's Department, Police Department, they came to an agreement where it was optional as to what their officers could carry. And because they found out that the officers said they could get off faster shots and better shots, better hits with a 9mm than a 357-38.
That's why I say dance with the girl you brought. Practice with what you're going to defend with. You know why I carry a handgun, my friend? You know why I carry a handgun, Ed? Because a nuclear bomb won't fit in my pocket. That's the only reason. Hey, thanks again, Ed. You have a good day. God bless, buddy. All right, look, we're going to take a little break here and then come back and give you the last segment of our show. It's 96.7 FM, 1400 AM, Power Talk, Fresno.
U.S. Tactical and Sporting Arms presents Cenmass on Power Talk 96.7 and AM 1400. Here again is Rod Williams.
And our store is U.S. Tactical and Sporting Arms, located at 2135 West Whitendale and Visalia at Mooney behind the 76 station. You can call our store at 734-2767. That's 734-ARMS. Questions are free. Stupid questions cost $0.25. There's lots of big things coming soon. You can check us out on Cenmass.com. Radio shows, Power Talk, Cenmass. Follow us on Facebook, Cenmass #1. Check our videos out on YouTube, Cenmass #1. We're going to be having a ball, making a lot of content. Greg, I just think I want to blaze through the kind of some fun news stories here in the last segment. So I'm just going to do the blazing news story thing.
You're good at that.
Black Friday background checks, record gun purchases. The number of gun background checks on Black Friday rose from 185,345 checks in a 24-hour period. The previous year, it rose up to like 185,700. So it beat the previous year out by a little. Boy, I love the way politics drives gun sales.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Thank you, politicians. You're the best gun salesmen ever. What you want to take away, we want twice as much. I wish our store had a bigger share of that because I'm like human nature, like everyone else. I want to have stuff myself. So I want people to come in and shop there. We would love to get a bigger percentage. It's just probably my people skills and personality that's preventing that. But not a problem. This article here has talked about the lines outside the corner and has a politics driven gun sales, and now that the election's over, will gun sales go away? Not a problem here in Communist California because they're still trying to take ours. And a whole crop of new laws coming up to suppress your liberty. So you need to get down and get your guns. There you go. There's that
before
one.
It's too late.
Mooge through that one. General David Petraeus, someone says they were looking at this guy for Secretary of State. Hope that doesn't happen. I say Petraeus. His name's Petraeus. But this guy is truly a global elitist and a globalist. Trump, we don't want more of the same. You're the change guy, so let's change it. We don't need Petraeus. You already got Rance. What is it? Rance? Priebus. Another guy I don't care much for.
No.
But we're going to live with him. But we don't need Petraeus. We don't need Mitt Romney doing nothing.
No.
Remember, the people who tear you down and are your worst detractors do not need to be your bedfellows. It becomes obvious if you do that. General Petraeus does not need to be the Secretary of Squat. He's a globalist and basically a gun control loving schmo. So let's got that one put to bed. No Petraeus. What's the other guy they're looking at right now that you're liking? Mattis the Badass. General Badass. Mattis, I mean.
Everybody's happy about that one.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm going to reserve comment. That's on, for another day, but I think that, that I like the name General Badass. I mean, Mattis.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they said the rest of the world was probably shaking a little bit over that one.
Oh, good. So. I like that. Okay. Police got called on Black Friday. Police got called, on a gun shop on Oceanside because a guy had a giant cardboard cutout of an AR-15 and was waving around, trying to advertise like they got guys out there in clown suits,
spinning them and stuff.
With spinning stuff, yeah. And so they called the cops on this poor schmo because he had a cardboard cutout. Police were called on a Marine veteran who was holding a sign on Black Friday advertising firearm unknown gun store in Oceanside. Cardboard sign was shaped like an AR-15. People called cops reporting a man with a fake rifle. According to the news, the veteran is going by the name Vaughn. Said people also drove up and flipped him the bird and rolled down their windows and cursed and yelled obscenities at him. Vaughn is the manager of a Firearms Unknown, which sells gun parts. Once the police are called, he found himself very frustrated that people were calling the cops, obviously holding a flimsy cardboard cutout. And then the cops asked him to not do it anymore. There goes your liberty. There goes your free speech. And that's not the Second Amendment. Now they're attacking the First Amendment in liberal Oceanside. The police asked Vaughn to find another means of advertising the store. I would have told him to pee up a rope. Yeah. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
That's just getting ridiculous. He said to request to put away the cardboard poster. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but I'm waving it around. He has a right to express himself.
I mean, he could have had a real one out there.
It's obviously, I'm looking at a picture of it. It's like 9 foot long cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
There's no question that no one's intimidated by a piece of cardboard. But they're going to, take this Marine's liberty away.
Look where he was. You got to look at the place he was doing it at. Bunch of liberals.
It scared me. They waved a cardboard gun at me.
Big cardboard at me.
It's so scary. Oh, they don't have no right to do that. Okay, global temperatures plunged. Icy silence from climate alarmists. Global land temperatures have plummeted by 1 degree Celsius since the middle of the year. The biggest and steepest fall on record.
Oh, my
period.
Goodness.
Oh, there's no global warming. There's the climate change scare. I was telling Dave on the way over here, look at the scare, how they try to manipulate us, scare us. Well, the ozone layer's going away. There's overpopulation. There'll be no place to live. Oh, the landfills are all filling up. We'll be swimming in trash. I mean, can you think of them all since the 70s? California's going to fall into the ocean.
Yeah. We should have already been long gone.
There's no end to the scary stuff.
According to them.
Well, we had an El Nino, and following an El Nino, you get a La Nina, which, so the El Nino warms the ocean temperatures. All the fish come up here from down south. It's great for fishing. Yeah, it's awesome. But then following that, you get a cooling of the ocean. you know what, folks? I'm sorry, but cow farts in your car are not what causes the planet to get a little warmer from time to time. In case you haven't noticed, there's a giant ball of fire in the sky. We call it the sun. And if you're not careful, the sun does different things over millions of years, and sometimes it warms your planet up, and sometimes it cools it down. So you may have a hot planet full of dinosaurs, or you may have a cold one full of ice. And that's just nothing that we do as anything to think of that. That is God's doing. God puts these systems in place for his own means. Quit thinking you're God, you bunch of liberals. You're not. It's going to happen. Well, it's going to happen. A big ball of fire in the sky is what controls the weather. Get over it. Not cow farts. So you're gonna steal all the dairymen's money because it's cow farts.
Yeah, isn't that insane?
Oh my gosh, they won't stop.
It's all about money. It's all about money. The global warming and all that. You know how much money these guys are making off of that? It's just insane.
Well, speaking of global warming, Barkley, and conspiracies, I've been looking. I want you to know I'm doing due diligence on your chemtrail conspiracy.
Good.
And I checked out chemtrails every way I can. I tried to make myself the chemtrail educated guy, but I cannot find. Okay, first thing, are globalists doing it? Okay, the globalists are going to put stuff in the sky that poisons everybody. Last time I checked, even the globalists live under the same sky with the rest of us. So that's like saying we're all in a vat of gasoline, and the globalist wants us all to burn us up, so he's going to throw a match. And he's in the same tub of gasoline with us. So that's not reasonable.
Yeah, it doesn't seem reasonable that they would do that.
And yes, they do cloud seeding with,
aluminum oxide.
Aluminum oxide, but mostly silver iodine.
Yes,
and
which is
none of that stuff's good for you,
no.
And it's a bad idea, and that's real. So the cloud seeding is a bad idea, and there's your chemtrails, but most of them are contrails. It's just that there's a lot of aircraft flying around the sky. Look at the busy airports all over the country. That's a lot of planes flying around, bro. And conditions are right. You're going to have a lot of contrails. But yeah, they do this cloud seeding. It's a bad idea. It's nasty. But I still can't. I'm open-minded, bro. I love a good conspiracy. I love it, and I'm open-minded, and I don't want it to be true but I'm open-minded. But I can't quite wrap my head around. And in every article and website I find when they do it, they all seem real credible, and they got all these scientific guys talking about it. But then somewhere along the line, they start looking pretty hokey.
Yeah, they just get way off.
Yeah, they get too far out.
Okay, I can't go there.
It starts dawning on you, no, these guys are kind of kooks. Yeah. And so,
with the conspiracy, it's just like what they're doing with the water and not supplying water to the valley. You think, how crazy are you guys in Sacramento that you're not going to provide and the food that you eat every day, that you go to your restaurants and all that stuff. What do you think you're going to get all your food?
That will strike the match.
It's insane. I don't get their thinking.
They want the whole world to end so that they can.
Farming should be the most protected, pampered thing in California. They should be the most protected and taken care of.
Right.
And yet they just want to destroy it every way they can.
What did the Israelites do? God gave them the land of Canaan, gave them all the milk and honey, gave them the beautiful thing, and they continually screw it up. That's what we do. That's just who we are.
Yeah, we're human beings, I guess.
The kidnapped jogger was branded nearly starved to death. Have you heard that story?
Yeah, that was kind of scary.
California?
That was really scary.
And then her and her husband come out and talk, or not she so much, but the husband, whoever people around her,
she hasn't
talking
talked
to the media. Man, I'm not sure what's going on there. A lot of people are saying that they think because it would be a book deal, it would be a movie. You take a little beat down, and make it look good.
Yeah, but I'm
not saying that's what's going on. I mean, I'm looking at a picture of this girl. She was just a cute little girl, cute as a bug, and her husband. They look like nice kids, but there's something.
I'll tell you what, the cops. If they are faking it, the cops sure aren't seeing it. I mean, they're really supporting the husband.
Someone kidnapped. There's a lot of human trafficking. And
I think they picked the wrong girl. I think they saw this girl, they picked her, and then they realized that they didn't get some just random person that nobody cares about. Because I believe that happens to homeless people and girls around the street.
I think that they've got quite a few mainstream people, because you hear stories about these people being sold
disappeared
to some
and stuff.
Islamic Arab sheik over there. These Islamic people that don't like anything bad or anything to do with sex.
Well, those people don't care.
But they always get caught up in some sex scandal and stuff.
Something's very weird about it, especially that they let her go.
Why they let her go? Why would they beat her up? Why would you have something you want to sell to somebody and then screw it all up?
Well, I think it was
like scratching a gun before you sell.
I mean, everything that they did was part of what they were talking about is breaking down the person and getting them to to psychologically affect them, cutting her hair, doing all these things was what you normally do to someone that you're trying to manipulate. And then it was just like they went, okay, we're done. So.
A couple of stories coming up I didn't get a chance to hit on. I get a kick out of the smugglers on the border, usually cloning city trucks and county trucks and stuff. Senator Tim Kaine, that wanted to be vice president, is an idiot. When the guy ran people over and stabbed, he called it a gun crime. Look, folks, that's it. I got to put it into this show before I say anything more to you this day. Thanks for listening. Please remember, freedom is never free. Participate in the debate and vote. Get out with your family and shoot. Work hard and pray without ceasing. God bless you, and Jesus rocks.